Hi, in this question we're going to discuss about the concept of continuous random variable. And in the question, in the lecture notes, and x, okay, this and the x here is actually the continuous random variable, and this is actually the probability density function, okay, in the form of function gx is represent the probability density function for the continuous random variable, right? So, okay, then the question is asking you to find the value of m here, and given that this is a probability density, so you actually knowing that this is actually a probability density function. So for a continuous random variable, so you know that first, if this is a continuous random variable, so if you integrate from negative infinity up to positive infinity for the gx, so it must be equals to 1, right? The meaning here, the meaning of this is actually telling you that any interval, right, from for the gx, right? So means that for all the interval, right, evaluate the integral from -2 up to 0, right? Meaning here is that you integrate from -2 because only this interval you having the function, right? The rest you does not have the function, is 0, right? So we just consider this interval, right? The rest is 0, so there is won't affect anything. So -2 up to 0, -2 up to 0. The function here will be mx plus 2 to the power of 2 dx, right? At first, so this is for the first interval, right? -2 up to 0, right? Okay, next, for all the interval, now go for the second interval, right? From 0 up to 4/3. Okay, 0 up to 4/3. So for 4m dx, right? The equal or without the equal, it doesn't matter. It's not important that it's equal or no equal here when you're doing integration, right? So as long as you integrate for the interval -2 up to 0 for this function, and 0 up to 4/3 for this function 4m, you were definitely getting a value of 1, right? Now this is the characteristic, right, of a probability density function, a PDF, right? A probability density function for a continuous random variable. So now, okay, let's evaluate this. You want to find the value of m, right? You can actually factor out the m here. Can you see that? This m you can actually factor out because it's a constant, right? You can take out from the integral. So -2 up to 0, x plus 2 to the power of 2 dx. And same thing also, for this you can factor out the m, right? You can factor out the m. So you have 0 to 4/3, and 4, right? You take out the m and you have 4 dx, so equals to 1. Alright, let's continue how to doing this. Say this is also m, this is also m, so we can take out the m again, right? Factor out everything, okay? So inside you will have -2 up to 0, x plus 2 to the power of 2 dx, right? You factor out the m, and this is also factor out the m, so inside you have positive from 0 up to 4/3, 4 dx. Everything equals to 1, right? So now you just need to evaluate the integral, right? Inside the bracket here. So just leave the m alone first. So now integrating this, this is you have to revise your integration techniques here. So this is just a simple formula. This is linear, right? Linear. So you just adding up by 1, 2 plus 1, you have 3 divided by 3. The coefficient for x here is 1, right? 1. So now for this integral, after integrate, is from -2 up to 0, right? And for this is a constant, so if you integrate, you're getting 4x, right? X to the power of 0, 1/1. So it's from 0 up to 4/3, or equals to 1, right? Okay, let's continue. All this is a basic work that you must know, right? You must know. So 0, substitute 0 plus 2, you have 8, 2 power of 3, 8/3, minus away. negative 2 plus 2, right? You try to substitute negative 2 plus 2, you have 0. So 0 over 3, you are getting 0, right, for this. Okay, so I have done with this. So now go for this positive with, substitute the 4. So be 4 over 3, right? 4 over 3. Negative with 4 times with 0. So equals to 1. Okay, slowly we have m. Here we have 8 over 3. 8 over 3. And here we have 16, right? 4 times 4, 16 over with 3 equals to 1. And m, alright, 16 plus 8, 24, right? 24 over with 3 equals to 1. So 24 divided by 3 is 8 equals to 1. So the value of m here will be 1 over 8 finally, by using the concepts of probability density function for a continuous random variable. So for discrete random variable, we sum up everything must be equals to 1, right? So for continuous random variable, for discrete, for continuous, so we integrate everything must be 1. So this is the concept here. So now we have get the value of m equals to 1 over 8, right? So now we can replace the value of m here with 1 over 8, right? We can replace the value of m here with 1 over 8 because we have known that this is 1 over 8. So 1 over 8 and 1 over 8, 4 over 8, right? This is 4m, 4 times 1 over 8. So you are getting the value of 1 over 2, right? So now we have already have a probability density function. Alright, later on, the question usually we're asking you to find the probability of x between negative 1 and 1. Right? So then you have to understand about the function, right? So there is negative 2, the boundary value, negative 2 up to 0, right? From 0 up to 4 over 3. So I just writing this way. So during this interval, right, the first interval and the second interval here. So you have to understand, right, during the first interval, right, the function will be 1 over 8. The fx for this case here will be 1 over 8 x plus 2 to the power of 2, right? Whereas for this case here, the second interval, which is 0 up to 4 over 3, your gx, gx, okay? Your gx will be equals to 1 over 2, right? So you have to make sure that you understand, okay? So now, I want to find the probability, right? Probability of negative 1 up to 1. So I have to integrate negative 1 up to 1 for this function, right? Because it's a probability from negative 1 up to 1. But you have to understand that from negative 1 up to 1, right? From negative 1 up to 1. So if I redraw this interval, right? From negative 2, right? 0, 4 over 3. So from negative 1, is here, right? Negative 1 up to 1, right? So this is the region here, negative 1 up to 1. But you know that for this interval, negative 2 up to 0, the function is fx will be 1 over 8 x plus 2 squared, right? For this, from negative 2 up to 0, from 0 up to 4, the gx, so the gx here will be 1 over 2, right? So now we want to integrate from negative 1 up to 1. So because of there is a change of function, so I have to integrate from negative 1 up to 0 first, right? Because from negative 2 up to 0, this is the function. So from negative 1 up to 0, right, the function will be 1 over 8 x plus 2 to the power of 2 dx, right? Power of 2 dx. And later on, followed by integrate from 0 up to 1, right? Up to 1. 4 over 3 is greater than 1. 0 up to 1. So 0 up to 1, the function is 0 up to 1 in this interval, right? So the gx here will be 1 over 2 dx. This is very important, okay? You should get this correct first before you integrate. Right, okay, let's start integrating. So, very simple. So, probability of x between -1 and 1, right? Okay, it's the same as you integrate x plus 2 to the power of 2. You are getting x plus 2 to the power of 3 divided by 3, right? Divided by 3, right? 3 times 8, 3 times 8, 24, right? So this is from -1 up to 0, followed by 0 up to 1, right? Integrate a constant, 102, you are getting 102x, 102x. So this is from 0 up to 1, right? So you just substitute the value, the upper value, 0, 0 plus 2, 2, 2 power of 3, 8 over 24, right? For the first one, 8 over 24, minus away, -1, right? -1 plus 2, -1 plus 2, you have 1. So you're getting 1 over 24. You evaluate this integral, then this is what you get, right? For this one, you have 1 over 2 times with 1. So 1 over 2 minus with 1 over 2 times with 0, right? So if you total up the probability here, 8 minus 1, you have 7 over 24 plus with 1 over 2. Then you will get the required probability. So you are getting 19 over 24 as the probability for this between the x between -1 and 1. Alright? Alright, okay, let's move on. If the question asking us to find the probability of x greater or equal 1, right? So either is a greater or equal 1, or probability of x is greater than 1 without the equal, it's the same. The technique is the same, alright? So you have to find, but you have to identify 1. Where is 1, right? 1 is within this, right? This is 1.333, right? So 1 is somewhere around here, right? 1. So what is meant by greater, right? You have to understand the greater. Greater is the region above 1 to the right, right? This region, right? This region. So because it's just up to 4 over 3, right? -2 up to 4 over 3. So we have, if you want to find the probability for x greater or equal 1, so you just integrate for the region from 1 up to 4 over 3, right? 1 up to 4 over 3. 1 is within here, 1 to 4 over 3. And during this interval, right? During this interval from 0 up to 4 over 3, the function is 1 over 2. So you have to integrate 1 over 2 dx, right? Very simple. So this must be correct, right? So integrate 1 over 2, you will have x over 2, right? X over 2, 1 over 2x. So it's from 1 to 4 over 3. So you can just substitute the value. 4 over 3 divided by 2, right? 4 over 3 divided by 2 minus away 1 over 2, right? 1 over 2. So 4 over 3 divided by 2, you will have 2 over 3, right? 2 over 3 minus with 1 over 2. Right, let's see what's the value that you will get. You are getting the value of 1 over 6 as the probability, right? As the probability here. So, okay, if the question is asking you to sketch the graph, right? Sketch the graph for this probability density function, right? For this probability density function. So, let's see, okay, how to sketch the graph for this. Right, okay, let's sketching the graph for this probability density function. So, alright, so this is so you must know that you have to understand that the probability density function, right? A probability density function will be always positive. The gx, the function is always the range, okay? The meaning that the range of g is always at least 0, right? The value of g must be above here, right? The gx here. There are no negative probability density, no, right? So minimum will be 0, right? But the random variable can take any value, right? Negative to positive, okay? As you said, -2 up to 0, right? -1, -2, right? -2. So you have, you know that this is a quadratic curve, right? Quadratic curve with this shape here. Okay, if you're very familiar, this will be -2. The shape of the graph will be something like this. All right, the minimum point here, right? This is a complete square, so the +2 will become -2. So they will intercept the y-axis. X will be 0, right? X will be 0. So if x0, so it will be 2 square. 2 square is 4. 4 over 8, 1 over 2. So I know that from -2 up to 0, the graph will be -2 up to 0, right? -2 up to 0, the graph will be up to 1 over 2. There is a quadratic curve here. There is a quadratic curve here. All right, I thicken the graph. Okay, it's supposed to be a quadratic curve, but we just want the part from -2 up to 0. Okay, -2 up to 0. Okay, included. So there is an equal. That's not included here. Right, empty circle here. So now I have sketched for this part, right? The graph for this part here. Okay, later on, 0 up to 4 over 3. Right. 0 up to 4 over 3, so is 4 over 3 is 1.33. Okay, it's around here. Okay, 4 over 3, right? More than 1 but less than 2, so 4 over 3. So during from 0 up to 4 over 3, right, is a horizontal line, right? 1 over 2 is y1 over 2, so means that it's 1 over 2 up to 4 over 3. So then there's an empty circle here, right? So this is the graph for this probability density function here. So as I teach you before that, you have to understand that if, okay, listen to what I'm saying. If this is a probability density function, the area under the graph, the total of the area under the graph, everything, the area under the graph must be equals to 1, right? If you did not get the value of 1 after integrate, means something wrong with this. Okay, so if this is a probability density function, I use the word probability density function, right? Probability density function, right? For a continuous random variable, the area under the graph for the everything here, okay, for this function will be equals to 1. Alright, alright, just now you have know that the shape of the graph will be this way. So I think that's all for this video.